All right, we're talking about the ideal time to go to Thailand. And we're not talking about seasons. I'm not saying like, oh, you want to go in May where it's really nice there. We're talking about when is the ideal time where you're going to be able to take advantage of all the information coming at you and maximize your learning curve. We want to get the most out of this, I don't want to say once in a lifetime trip, but really a lifetime experience, because going to Thailand, finding the right gym, putting in those training hours like a professional fighter, for many people, it is just a fantastic experience. And I went there, I did it, and I do believe, to a certain extent, it is one of the reasons that I was able to capture so many of those belts behind me. I did learn a whole lot. So let's talk about what time you should go to Thailand. Let's say you start off, you're super passionate. You watch a UFC event, you're like, wow, I really like the striking. And then you hear them say Muay Thai, and then you hear about Thailand, and you go to a gym, you're a month in, and you're like, you know what? I'm going in a month. I'm just gonna head there. I've only been training for 1, 2, 3 months, but I'm just gonna go to Thailand. You might think that's a great time. Your learning curve is just gonna skyrocket. But I would caution against this. Why? Because when you go to Thailand, you're not necessarily going to get the instructional that you think you might. Yes, you do get pad work. Yes, you will get some clenching. But depending on which gym you go to, you're not going to have somebody who's going to be breaking down the technique over and over, helping explain what you're doing wrong, what you're doing right. Sometimes that's because of the language barrier. Sometimes it's because these guys hold pads all day long, year after year after year, and they're just kind of like, yeah, round kick, and they're not going to make massive corrections. So I don't think you're going to get the best bang for your buck going in that early stage. You're better off staying at home, honing your skill set a little bit more. Because what happens when you're in Thailand, again, in my experience, I went to 4 different gyms. This was the case at all of them. I didn't get instruction the way I necessarily wanted, but I learned so much from watching other people, watching what they're doing, making mental notes, being like, oh yeah, I'm going to try that today. And when I was able to do that, then my skill level really did start to skyrocket up. But if you're in the early stages, you're not going to be able to recognize those things. You're just going to see somebody throw a kick and be like, yeah, okay, it's a kick. You don't understand the intricacies and the differences between a Muay Thai kick and a kickboxing and a karate kick and so on and so forth. So early on, unless you're just going for fun, I don't think it's a great use of your time or your money. I think personally, when you start getting to that point where you're hitting an intermediate stage, so for me, time-wise, that is probably somewhere over a year. 1, 2 years you've been training, you know your skills are getting good. You can watch a fighter in the UFC and be like, wow, his striking level's way up here, but also recognize the guys whose striking level is not as high. You can see inconsistencies in technique, differences in styles. When you start being able to watch that, look at it, recognize it, now when you go to Thailand, you're going to be able to learn. And the things they have to teach you, as I already mentioned, are very often going to come from you observing, as opposed to classic instruction. So that would be my main advice. There's so much to learn there. Do not waste your time in Thailand like many people do. I saw so many people do it. They come there, they're like, yeah, I'm going to train twice a day, and then that slowly dwindles down to once a day, and then they're kind of training every second day. You can go and, drink and party anywhere in the world, but there's not too many spots where you're going to get to be like a pro fighter, to live that pro fighter lifestyle. And it's something special, it's something fun, and it might just give you a real boost and a kick so that when you do come back home, you're extra motivated to keep that learning curve growing. And maybe you'll go back to Thailand after 5 or 10 years, and then you'll have another blast. But yeah, for me, if I was going to recommend to somebody, I would say somewhere between 1 and 3 years of training, depending on your skill set, that is a great time to go. A couple red flags to keep in mind when you're in Thailand is, yeah, you're going to be running a decent amount. Most of the gyms start training sessions with the running. If that's not for you, you're kind of like, I hate the road work. Sometimes you can bail on it. Other times, everybody else is doing it. You just might need to go there and be prepped up for it. Do some training beforehand so you're used to that, you know, foot on the pavement over and over and over, because they run slow, but it's a fairly long distance. I would say somewhere between 5 and 8 kilometers. Again, in my experience, was pretty normal. But a lot of people don't want to do that. So just bear in mind that that is a part of the experience. The heat, I didn't mind it, but some people said, oh, it was so hard to train in that first week or two. So if we're talking about length, how long should I go to Thailand? That's a good question, in addition to what we were already talking about. We should look and go, okay, I probably don't want to go for 10 days, because by the time I get there, if the heat wipes me out for a day or two, I have the jet lag, then really just doing a little vacation trip. I would suggest ideally going 3 to 4 weeks. I think that's a nice time period. I think you can get there, spend a couple days acclimatizing, start getting into really good shape, and then by the time you hit that mid-trip, you're at 2 weeks in or something, now you have another 2 weeks or another 1 week to really push, really dial in, to really learn a lot. And just appreciate the experience, because it is special. The food is amazing. If you set yourself up at the right gym, you're gonna have a beach close by. You can go and do that in between training sessions. There's so many fun things to do there. You can obviously go and watch fights pretty much any night of the week. Yeah, in terms of would I go back? I don't know. I don't know if I would be like, oh, I'm going back for a fight camp, in the sense that, oh, I'm training for something. But in terms of going back and just having a good time, getting some training in, for sure. But when I went, it was all about improvement. I just wanted to get better. I wanted to learn how to clinch, how to throw elbows, wanted to go and train alongside Bokao, see what I could learn, and it did help. And it'll help anybody who goes. Just a matter of, are you going to be able to maximize your learning curve while you're there? So that's my insight, guys, on when is the right time to go to Thailand. Hope it helps you, and I hope you love your trip over there.